All right. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. I'm just setting myself up as well. Please certainly in the chat, let us, pardon me, let us know where you're tuning in from. It's exciting to be getting ready for Halloween early. I've been helping some friends of mine that live on my street get their costumes all ready to go a little bit early. But guess what? Halloween's only 2 weeks away, so it's like, okay, better get started. So today, what we're going to do, and just welcome, and again, if you have any questions, my name is Sani. I work with Singer Sewing Machines and very excited to be here with you. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple costumes, but also I want to make sure whenever I do a class, I want to give you like a couple tips and hints on how to do things maybe a little bit differently than what you were thinking you should do, or different things like that. So we're going to give you some tips and hints. We're going to do some fun costumes. And so I think that's it. Monet's here as well. So don't hesitate. If you have a question, go ahead and put that in the chat. And if Monet can't answer it, then she'll ask me the question as well. So, all right, so let's get started. The first costume we're going to do is hopefully you can kind of see. Can you see back there? I have a little black t-shirt. A lot of our costumes are going to be on a t-shirt. T-shirts are easy to go. Michaels has so many different sizes and colors of t-shirts. And so, it's easy to go grab a t-shirt and then decorate it. So that's what we're going to kind of start with for our cat costume. I have to say that very slowly. So it's a cute cat costume. So you can say that 3 times fast. With our little cat costume, and again, I'm going to just kind of point back here. Hopefully you can see a little bit. It says purr on it. We've done a lot of appliques in the past, so I'm not going to really get into applique this week. Next week, I'll do a little bit more. But the big thing that I really want to show you that I think is really fun, I'm just going to, hopefully, that won't go flying behind my area as we get going here. Can you see this really cute little cuff? This is, Michaels also has, if you don't know, Michaels now carries fabric. So either online or in most of our stores with Michaels, they have fabric, and it's really great things that you can use and you can just run in and find. This is a black tulle. Can you see how nice and lightweight this is? And what I did, instead of sewing this onto like the sleeve, what I made is I made a little elastic cuff. So you can make these for different sizes of, kids. You can even, if I can even do that, I can even wear it as an adult to have that on a shirt, and then I don't have to actually sew it directly to the shirt. The whole trick with this is that you're sewing elastic on this type of tulle. And there are different ways to do this. Some people will gather and then just sew, but I'm going to show you using what's called a multiple zigzag stitch. And we're going to sew the elastic directly to this tulle or this fabric. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my sewing machine. And we were smiling. The light was super bright, so I put a little piece of blue tape over the light so you could see a little bit better. So if you're getting a blue hue on if you see that, that really is, truly, that's just because of the tape that I put behind there. So I'm going to start, and I'm on just a piece of basic white fabric. And I'm going to switch to my other camera. And hopefully you all can see, I tried to make it a little bit easier. Stitch number 6. So this stitch right here, when I touch that, it's called a multiple zigzag stitch. So it does a zigzag, and then it goes ahead and does dash stitches in between. I'm going to leave the width and the length. So hopefully you can see that the width and the length, I'm just going to leave as it came up. Today, everyone. You can kind of see it better here. Today I'm using the heavy duty 6700C. The C means it's computerized. I want you guys to realize that computerized sewing machines really are super easy to use. So I don't want you, if you're in the market for a sewing machine, check out the computer machines as well as mechanical. Because if you noticed, I chose the stitch, and what happened? The stitch length and width were automatically made and controlled for me. So I didn't have to think about it. So that's one of the beautiful things about computerized machines. So just if you're looking for a machine, don't discount them because they're not necessarily harder. They're probably easier to use. So here we go. Let's come back to, and the reason why I wanted to start here on a white piece of fabric is, and you can kind of see that, I'm going to zoom in just slightly for you. And can you, it's hard to see. I know it's hard to see. I'll try and slow way down. See how it's making a few dashed stitches for every zigzag stitch it's making. So if I do that, see how it's making this dashed line for every zigzag stitch. This is a stitch that is great for putting on elastic. So I've got my tool and I've got my elastic here. And I just pinned it all together so we could see that a little bit better. What I did, I don't know how many, I'm gonna ask a couple questions as we go along here, Monet. So if you can, just let me know. What I want to ask, have any of you ever worked with like it's a netting or sometimes this is actually a true netting, but tulle, a really lightweight fabric like this? If you have, raise your hand or say yes in the chat. If you haven't, you can say no or that sort of thing. This is a little interesting to work with because you can see it's really kind of slick. So what I did, and it's super see-through. So I actually am using 4 layers of this. So I'm using 4 layers so I can see and work with, so it'll make the cuff really cute. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do there. And then I did not make my elastic a specific length yet. And the reason why I didn't is I'm going to cut the elastic when I get done, and I'll make the cuff the proper size when I get done. So here we go. I'm just going to go ahead. And again, I think you can see this pretty well, but I'm going to zoom in again just a little bit more. And I tried to remember this time, everyone, to use a brighter colored thread so you could see what I was doing. I'm going to take a couple stitches. Do you see? I just took a couple stitches, and that's going to hold the elastic to the fabric. And this is what becomes super important, everyone, is notice how I grabbed. Can you see that? I think you can see that. I grabbed the threads from the back, and then I'm going to pull the elastic from the front. What this is doing I think, could we see that okay? Was everyone able to see that a little bit? I was pulling from the back and the front. What happens is if you pull your elastic only from the front to make it gather, if you only pull it from the front, is anyone out there? Can you figure out what's going to happen to your needle? Think about that. Because if you pull only from the front, it's going to bend your needle. And then what can happen is can make your needle break. And then we're all very sad and we can't finish our costume. So when working with elastic, whether it be for something like this, or even putting elastic on maybe a slip or a swimsuit, notice how I'm pulling from front and back. I hope you can see that. And see in the back how it's getting a nice fullness for that. So it's really pretty cool how that works. So again, pull from front and back. And the more you pull, the more gathers you will get. Again, keeping the tension on the front and back. All right, I'm just going to leave it at that for the moment. And then check that out. Isn't that great how it just gathered everything up on that elastic? And then now's the time. So let's zoom back out. All right, and let's come back over here for a minute, because now's the time, now that you've got this, isn't that cool? I just love that. And you, again, you wouldn't have to use this lightweight fabric like this. What you can do is you could do this with any fabric, right? So you could do this with any fabric, but now's the time for your child or for yourself to like figure out, okay, how big do I need this? So if let's say someone had a pair of tights on or something like that, and you wanted to put this around the ankles, again, whatever size you need it to be, now is your time to go ahead and make the size the proper way. And then you're just going to trim the piece off that you're not going to use, right? So I just trim that off, and I have to admit, I'm letting things drop to the floor. I'm going to have to clean up the studio here in a little bit. I know you never do that at home. I never do that at home either. I say that wink, wink, right? We always do that at home. But here we've got this little piece here. I'm going to come back to my wonderful heavy duty machine here. So let's come back to our machine. And this time I'm at the machine, but I really wanted to do this. I actually like to use just a little zigzag stitch. So a normal zigzag stitch, but I'm going to make it not as wide. So a little bit narrower. So it's almost like a straight stitch, but it has a little bit of extra give to it. And then all I'm going to do is sew this. So we're just going to sew it together just a little bit. So here we go. Bring this right over here. And I'm going to get my hand out of the way, I promise. So it's a little hard to see, I guess, because, well, you know what, I'm going to do this opposite so you can't see. Normally, I put the bulk of my fabric to the outside, but so because of where I have the camera today, I'm just going to do it a little bit backwards. So now I have the bulk inside. So you see, I'm not going to actually go all the way to the top, nor am I going to go all the way to the bottom. I'm just going to start here. Did you see that go backwards? I did use my reverse button just slightly. That'll help it. So when the kids are out, and then again. All right, when the kids are out doing their trick or treating or whatever it may be. So there, you've got that sewn right together. It won't come apart. And that's also, you know, there are a lot of different ways. So here we go. There are a lot of different ways, right, that you can do this. So there we go. Pretty easy. Again, those are those quick, easy things. Wasn't that fun? And now you've got, you know, a great little cuff. You could, again, do it with different fabrics. I was talking with a friend talking about St. Patrick's Day as another, you know, dress up sort of time. You could do this with green. You could do it with anything, but making sure that you're sewing with that multiple zigzag stitch, right? So see, there's that stitch, and also pulling from front and back. Okay, so that's what's really important. So Monet, I'm kind of watching. Anybody have any questions about that? The needle is just a standard universal needle is what I used, and just regular sewing thread. But again, it's the tip of front and back. So I don't see any
I
questions.
don't have any questions just yet.
Yeah. Are you, I have to ask, did you find that kind of cool? Anyone on there? I am one of those teachers that if you don't say anything, I'm like, are you there? Please, we gotta just do a quick chat if you thought that was kind of fun, or if you've done it before, maybe you have a different way of doing it. But I find this is a super way of working with the elastic like that.
We saw people leaving thumbs up and hearts. So
Okay,
people are
perfect,
definitely
perfect.
watching.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see the thumbs up, so thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, they show up like in a not in the chat. So you might
Okay,
not see them.
thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So keep those out, and Ilsa, if you will just let me know, because like I said, I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. So, all right, so that was part of my little cat costume. The other part, actually, I love these things. I almost wore these at the beginning. So the little ears, right? So these are fun for children and adults. And so I think that's kind of neat. Now, everyone I know, oops, I gotta make sure, I want to turn my iron up a little bit here. Let's see if I can get it going. I may or may not be able to get it going right now. Let's see here. All right. The interesting thing about this is I know that we can glue things and do different things like that, but I am so much a sewist. I like to use the sewing machine itself to actually put the ears on. And the reason is then it's more stable. And again, you don't have to have glue. You don't have to do anything like that. What you can do is just use your sewing machine and stitch these ears together. So what I've done is got another set back here. So I've got another little headband. And again, you can find headbands at Michael's, really super easy. And what I did here and what I have here is felt, right? So felt is easy to work with. If you're a new sewist, this is, you know, this is a great way to learn and to try different things. Now, when I made our first little headband here, so when I made this guy, I did not cut my ears very long, right? I cut them about this long, so about that long. And what I found is when you are going to place this around, so I'll turn it around. If that was that long, guess what? And I know it's kind of hard to see. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that a little bit. Basically, I couldn't sew it. I was like, oh man, I cut him too short. So you err on the side, when you cut your little ears, err on the side of a little bit longer piece here, and then you can always trim it off. All right. So that's really, really good. And the other thing, let's go ahead, go back to our machine screen here. I've got my zigzag stitch, so I still have my zigzag stitch. I am going to make it a little bit wider now. So that's what that means, is that 2.5 is your stitch width. So that's like how wide the stitch is going to be. So that's what that one is. And then stitch length, I'm going to bring it a little bit closer together. Now, again, I think you guys can see this is what we're going for. And so here's all I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, and we're going to sew along the edge. And again, I guess black was a very bad choice for me, but you can see how that folds around. Here's again another little tip. It's very hard. Okay, so it's very hard to get close to the edge here. It's very hard to get close to the edge with a regular presser foot. So most of our Singer machines, and especially this one, this is what is called a zipper foot. Y'all can see that? And with that zipper foot, and I'm going to retract my statement here. So I'm going to take off this presser foot, and I'm just going to snap on the zipper foot. And what that's going to allow me to do is now, oh, I went the wrong way because I was thinking I'm on the other side. Actually, this is pretty cool because the zipper foot, you can go on either side. So now I can get really close to that edge of where my headband is. So that's really great. So everybody, if you're doing this, you certainly use that zipper foot. That's going to get super close. And why I said I'm going to retract a statement, I said a zigzag stitch. Let's just go back to a normal straight stitch. But the cool thing about a normal straight stitch, if you look up here on my heavy duty screen, did you see something just happen up there? Can you see that, Monet, if I move my hand out of the way?
Yes.
You can see that moving over. What it's doing is that is moving my needle position left and right. So I can actually, with the foot where it is, and this is the beauty of having a machine that has needle positions, is now what I've done is I move my needle position all the way over. So now I can get even closer to the edge, which is so very cool. And just because I want to make sure I'm not hitting anything improperly. Trim this little piece right here. So hopefully you can kind of see that. I think you can see that pretty well. I'm just going to sew right along that edge. Again, little reverse. And so you can see here, you can see there, you can see my stitching. And then all I have to do is trim this up a little bit. So if I would have used black, you wouldn't see that obviously on the front. And so that's kind of what I did with the other, but that way you can see how darn easy that is to use your sewing machine to make a more secure stitch, right? And then the other thing, and what I was expressing about before, is I like to wait. And I'm going to put my pink on later because that way I can get it where I want it to be. So that's that inner part of the ear. But again, Michaels has a lot of great tools for you. This is what is called it's called a fusible web. And if I come up, can you see how, I mean, it looks almost like a spider web in the whole theme of Halloween, but it's actually little bits of glue that are dried. And what you do is you put that just behind and you iron this on. And then if you choose, you can go ahead and go back and stitch it down. But that iron-on fusible web is really very great. And again, something Michaels has for you, so you can go ahead and use that. All right, and that is where my head is in the way. I dropped this, that's that. Super fast, super easy. And again, very last minute. So I think that's really, really fun. And again, you can use, I see someone said, use for so many different costumes, outfits, that sort of thing. And again, the ears can be cat ears. They could be, all sorts of different things. You can have a lot of fun with these. So any questions about that? Thumbs up? Couple thumbs up. Do you start with a black headband? So great question. And Tina, I did what I ended up doing is I got a multicolor pack of headbands. And so I did start with a black headband for my final product. So that's the one here. For the one I was practicing with today and just showing you today, it was actually a pink one. And honestly, you could use a pink one if you could make pink ears, depending upon your cat, anything like that. So yeah, so you could use either one, but the black one for a black cat is probably going to be the best. Okay. All right. So I'm going to jump to our next costume. And I think the next, it's not how many of you remember Odie from Garfield and Odie and Garfield cartoon? It's been a while. Garfield's still out there. Yep, you got it. you know, I was a huge Odie fan, so he's helping me out. That's gonna be our last costume today. What I am going to do is I'm going to grab the next costume, because I had it kind of put behind. This one has been the hit in the office. Everyone loves this little costume. So red t-shirt. So we had a black t-shirt. Again, you can get that in Michael's, whatever size you need. Red t-shirt as well. So here's my red t-shirt, but look what I did. I put they're just little teardrops, just yellow pieces of felt. So little yellow teardrops. I'm going to show you, I just sewed those on with a straight stitch. I think if you can see that. There we go. That's a good view. So you can see how just sewed that on. So I'm just going to sew it on with a straight stitch here. And then made a little collar. And with this little collar, okay, everybody, what am I? What do you think? I'm not going to wait that long. It's a strawberry. What a cute little thing. Yeah, I love it. What a cute little thing for very fast, very easy, red shirt. And one thing that I did, so I'll show you how to just quickly put this on, just straight stitch. It's not hard. But for the collar, everybody, I felt that the felt, if you ever feel felt, it can be kind of itchy. And so because it can be kind of itchy, I did not want to have the collar be made of felt, if that makes sense. For children, I could just see them, you know, going like this all night long when they're out at their Halloween. So I just used regular fabric. Again, Michael's, you can get a lot of green fabrics. This is something that I happen to have in my stash, but if you don't have that, go to Michael's, they will have that. And I actually did sew two pieces together and turn it inside out. After I did this, I was like, oh my goodness, I never want to do that again, because all of these little points were very tricky to get turned when I was going around this whole area. So then I finally got smart. And what I did is I found some fleece. And fleece, again, you only need one layer. And how I did this is depending, a lot of these costumes, everyone, it depends on the size you're going to make it for your child or for yourself. So what I did is I measured the collar of my t-shirt. So it's going to be the size for the t-shirt. And then I cut the circle of this little piece out. That was the size of the t-shirt, so it would fit in there. I should have worn this today, Monet. I think it was really, really cute. It would have been all about me here. But with this, so that, think about the fabric you're going to use when you're going to make that collar. Okay, so think about that, because that fleece is very soft, felt is kind of itchy. So just be aware. I had several people say, go ahead and just use felt, and that's fine. But just know if it was me, some people are very sensitive, so it might be kind of itchy. And I did have it so you would actually tie it on the back. So, you know, just a little tie around the back, because again, if you did not want, you know, it hooked to, you could certainly sew it right to the t-shirt. So it really is up to you what you want to do with that. Okay. So let's go ahead. Speaking of sewing, let's go ahead. I'm going to come back here. Let's go back to a normal, just center needle straight stitch. If you ever, like I remember I made a lot of changes. I made needle and maybe I make changes like that. And I want to go again back to a normal stitch. All I have to do is touch the stitch again and it automatically sets it. So again, gotta love that about that computer machine. So we're going to come back here. Again, I had the zipper foot on, so I'm just going to go back to my normal sewing foot. So I'm just going to go back to normal sewing. There we go. Normal straight stitch. And this is where, again, depending upon size, love to use that open arm. So that's really nice when you're doing something like, you know, a t-shirt like this. Lets me get right in there. And a little bit easier now. If you are a sewist, you know this, but you're gonna want to take your pins out before you start sewing. And if you're new to sewing, you want to take your pins out before you start sewing. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take like 2 stitches. And then I'm going to press my reverse to take 2 stitches back. Because I do not want my petals to pull off, right? That's again, one of the great things about you doing this on a sewing machine is I don't have to worry about, you know, the glue or anything like that. And let's take those couple stitches. And there you go. You can see it's that super simple and easy. I say there you can see. So, yep. Now for my other ones, I definitely used a yellow thread, so I don't see it as much, but I wanted you to be able to see this. One of the other little pieces to the puzzle on doing something like this. So let's get that. There we go. So again, is I don't know, and just let us know, how many of you are new sewists? Are you new to sewing? And the reason why I'm asking that is doing costumes like this is a perfect thing if you're maybe new to sewing and you're trying out different things. There we go. The reason why I say that is, guess what? Cats are not perfect. Strawberries are not perfect, right? So if something is moved a little bit, or we're going to make a flower headband here in a minute. If things are moved a little bit, or if it's not quite right, guess what? This is the fun. First of all, it's Halloween. It's probably going to be worn once. And secondly, nothing is perfect in this world. So just have fun with this. I had so much fun. I did this over the weekend. I had so much fun messing around and making these things. I was sending pictures to everybody. You don't know this about me, but I don't have kids, but I'm still sending pictures of all my kids' costumes to everybody I know because I think it's so darn fun. So this is a really cute little thing. And so just enjoy, have fun with it. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be like completely straight or completely perfect. So any questions out there on the strawberry, everybody? I don't see any questions yet. This one, someone actually mentioned to me that I'm going to put my little accessory tray back on to give myself more room on this as I go forward here. There we go. But someone had mentioned to me that this strawberry costume, actually, I think it was Monet. She said she sent a picture to her friends and they're like, oh, that's going to be me. So it's not just for kids. It's also for adults as well. You could put those pieces on a dress. You could do, and Darlene, what's the strawberry going to put on its head? I was going to say, you know, we had this, you know, these little headbands. You could just think about putting a little piece of green on top of this and, you know, having maybe a gray headband, or you could even wrap this if you wanted to with fabric. But yeah, put that on top and have a little bit of green. What fun. Just enjoy, have a lot of fun with that, right? So really, really cute. Our last thing that we're going to do today, and we're actually doing pretty well on time, is we are going to make a little flower headband. So this might be for younger children. It could be for actually for older children. Either way, it would be fun. But what I did, and so this is where Odie is going to help me here. I'm gonna bring him into the picture. And, and pardon me, got a little tickle. And it's always hard with a little tickle to talk, so pardon me for that, everyone. I'm gonna move to the machine real quick. And I'm letting myself get a little cough drop, so I won't hopefully bug you guys too much. This is, you see Odie, this is actually a little headband. And what I did with this headband, I started, so the same headband, everybody, that I've been using, different color, I started with something as simple as this. And when we were talking at the office, what I did is I just decorated it a little bit on felt. And truly, I cut 2 little holes. So the headband actually works its way through holes throughout the edge. But I was not happy with this. And, you know, last night when I was getting ready to come to class today and talk with you all, I was like, I'm not so happy with what this was. So what I ended up doing, similar sort of thing, is I have got a piece of felt like this. However, stopped off at Michael's on my way and grabbed some flowers, right? Just some flowers. And then I took apart the flowers. And then guess what? This is what I created with the little headband on the back. So someone said it looked like a lion. Oh, goodness gracious, I can never go to YouTube and let any of my friends see this, right? Anyway, kind of fun. You can do so many things in whatever color you want. I cut this because, again, depending upon the size of your child, the size of you, you can make this whatever size you need. And these I just used, again, the same outside area, but then I just added flower petals. So I took apart my flowers. So let's look at this for a minute and we can have some fun with this. So. So this little, I did start the base of my basically flower headband with a little flower. It wasn't anything in particular. I just cut something that would be about the right size for whoever is going to be wearing this. All right, so whoever is going to be wearing this. So I am using felt as my base. And then here's all my flower petals. And then I just laid it out. I'm like, what do I like? How many of you have these great flowers in your gardens or in your yards? I love these. My mom used to call them tiger lilies. I don't really know what they are, but I took those and then I took some of the yellow flower and put those behind. And this was kind of my base as I was going through. So now I just put these on each of the different petals, right? So I put one here, I put one here. But again, I sewed them together first. And I'm going to give you a little trick. So let's go to our machine. Right now, I'm set up for a normal straight stitch. That's where we ended before. So a normal straight stitch. And here's kind of my little petal base. So I've got my 2 smaller ones underneath. And then I've got the bigger lily petal. And this is kind of fun. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to straight stitch. So I'm just going to straight stitch along the edge. Ooh, make sure you put that presser foot down. And if I want to make sure, again, use that reverse So there's the start. Here's my next base piece. Okay, and then I'm just gonna trim this up just a little. So now that I have my base piece, what I want to do is I want to show you actually a little, let's see. Can you remove the seeds after Halloween? With the original shirt be affected? Oh, that's a great question. So I'll come back to that, Monet. I thank you for that. Let me come back to that because I want to just do a quick little finish with this. Because again, I'm going to go ahead and add this to each basically the petal of my headband. But this is going to be a little tricky for me to show, but this is actually, I'm going to zoom in quite a bit. All right. And I'm even going to move it just a little bit like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a little bitty zigzag stitch here. And then just raise my presser foot and do a zigzag stitch down here just a little bit. And I'll explain to you why that'll be important here in just a moment. But let's go ahead and choose our zigzag stitch. Width of 5 is fine, but our length, we want to be really super close together. And so the smaller the number, because that's a 0.6. So the smaller the number, the closer together your stitch is going to be. All right. So if I hold this down, all I'm going to do is the reason why I'm this piece in here of my flower petal, that actually is a plastic piece, and you don't want to really go straight over that with your needle. So I'm going to zigzag over it this way, and that way it's going to hold it down well, and I'm not going to hurt the needle of my sewing machine. Okay, so I'm just doing several different stitches. You could kind of see those going back and forth. And then I'm just going to raise my presser foot and do the exact same thing down here at the bottom over that center part. And by doing that, it's going to be secure. So let's see if I can show you this well. All right, so there's a stitch there. There's that stitch there, and you don't have to clip that thread. That'll make sure that it won't pull out if you leave that thread. But then the important part of that is, and why I did that this way, is if you look here on the finished piece, okay, similar sort of thing, but on the back, I actually cut the felt. Can you see that? So the headband's going to go right through, and it's not going to get caught in that piece. So same thing over here on the bottom part. See that? So it goes through, instead of, if you stitch that down, you could not get your headband through. Okay. So y'all see that okay? So that's kind of just an interesting little tip. And then, you guys, I just had fun. I just did. Let me zoom out just a little bit on this one. You can have whatever color, whatever, whatever, anything you really need. You could just, whatever colors whoever you're making this for, their favorite colors. And then I just added some leaves at the bottom, and just had a really fun time creating this little headband. So, right. So let's come back and see if you have, I love the idea of, taking apart the flowers, and then you can use them in a different way. You could put these on, I mean, you could do anything. I think for, even for, maybe not Halloween in this way, but maybe for Thanksgiving time or holidays, you could take a flower and put it on a little piece of felt and make napkin rings, or there's so many things you can do with techniques like this. So really, really fun. So, Monet, what I see here is I don't think if, can you remove the seeds after Halloween? And that was the question, right? Yeah. So here's the thing, certainly, as Monet said, you can remove those seeds after the fact. I'm going to pull that back out. So you can go in with a seam ripper and take those pieces, those stitches out. The trick is with a knit like this. So it's, it's a nice t-shirt, nice stretchy little t-shirt. It is, well, I'm going to say for me, when I've done that, I sometimes will catch the knit pieces of the t-shirt itself. So because of that, I make little holes in it. What I would suggest is if you want to do that, if you want to take those pieces, these little beads or the little seeds off, make your stitch length longer. Okay, so a little bit longer stitch length. So 2.5 is normal. If you take it up to 3.5, it'll be easier. If you know for a fact that you're going to take these off, it'll be easier with a longer stitch length, about 3.5. It'll be easier for you to take it apart. Okay. So any other questions? Any other thoughts? Where are you guys going to use this? Are there any, I think I would get purple and maybe make a raspberry. I don't know. We could do all sorts of things like that. But any other thoughts, or how do you think you're going to use the little cuffs? What would you put on the strawberry's head? What do you think? Where are some other ideas, right? For my dog. Oh, that's really cute. It really is her name Strawberry? Oh my gosh, that's a great thing. So you need a strawberry costume for your dog, that's for sure. Any other thoughts about what you're going to do? Any ideas? I keep looking. I don't know if anyone is typing, but I love the strawberry costume. I think that's a fun one. So if there are no more questions, if you want to come back for adult last minute, tail for the cat. Oh, Darlene, great comment for the tail for the cat. Certainly, pardon me, I did not do a tail for the cat. I would use just regular, either a knit fabric or regular fabric, and just draw a long piece, 2 pieces, and stuff it with basically some fiber fill. I think that would probably be about the best. Or if you wanted to, I just thought of this. I put her on the front. I don't know if I can turn my little mannequin around. But there we go. So on the back, you could, to make it super simple, you could applique like a gray tail on the back so you wouldn't have to attach it in a different way. So you could do that as well. So it wouldn't be as challenging. I think the challenge is, how do you attach the tail? How do it's like pin the tail on the cat instead of on the donkey, but you could certainly, attach a tail to somebody's like sweats or trousers or whatever that is. But again, you could just put the tail right on the back of the t-shirt as well. So good question. Question for the cuffs is heavy. Will it be too heavy? Will it be flimsy? So the question about, I would not use, great question. I wouldn't use a super heavy fabric, because then it won't pull up very well. So you could use like a quilting cotton, a lighter weight quilting cotton, the tools, something that has a little bit of, that when you like scrunch it up, it looks like it's gonna gather. I think that's gonna be important for you for that. If you choose something that's super heavy, like felt, got a little piece of like felt, it would be really tough because it's too, it really is almost too bulky. So it should be a lighter weight fabric for those cuffs. All right, anything else? Oh, I hope you had fun actually with the class. Thank you, Darlene. I appreciate that. I think, again, just have fun, do different things. Next week, I just want to let you know, I'm back next week. We are doing adult costumes and just some fun, different things that I'm kind of my humor is kind of tongue in cheek. So it's kind of get your thought processes a little bit different because we're going to do some maybe some punny different things next week. So for adults, so we'll have fun with that as well. And everyone have a great rest of your week and great weekend, and we'll see you next week. So thank you very much for joining. And remember, again, if you're looking for a machine just to get you going with Halloween, our heavy duty line is wonderful, but if you can, those computer machines, they can do so much for you. You should check out the 6700C. So again, thanks everybody. Bye.